I hope everybody is good. And the last panel about investment in gaming startups. I want to invite panelists to the stage. Moderator, co-founder at Game Factory, Murat Kahraman. Speaker, general partner at Ludus Ventures, İsmet Gökşen. And the other speaker, managing director at We Play Ventures, Burak Yılmaz. Stage is yours.
Thank you. Are you ready? Hello, everyone. We are here to talk about investments in gaming startups. I guess the topic was that. So we have very precious guests here, actually. Unfortunately, Jason Kim will not be here with us today because of some last-minute matters. But I hope everything is all right for him. But we have actually the two most active investors in gaming vertical here.
Yes.
Probably globally most active.
7 times. Yep.
And İsmet and Burak, I will let them introduce themselves, but let me tell about me first. My name is Murat Kahraman, and I'm pretty known as one of the oldest guy in the Turkish gaming ecosystem. And I am working hard for games actually over 22 years now. And at the moment, I'm one of the co-founders of Game Factory. But I will not talk about Game Factory because I guess you heard it enough today, thanks to Efe. So we can start. So let's start with İsmet. Who are you and what are you doing with Ludus?
Of course. Hello, everybody. My name is İsmet. I'm the general partner of Ludus Ventures. So basically, Ludus is a gaming dedicated venture capital. We funded Ludus early last year. We have been investing actively for the last 16 months, I guess. Our fund size is, our first fund size is $30 million. Our focus is gaming vertical, but we are mostly focusing on mobile subgenre of gaming vertical itself. As you mentioned, our primary focus is to find best talents in the world, invest them, help them to grow, and our regional split is 50% Turkey, now 50% outside Turkey. So yeah, overall we are investing in gaming startups.
Thank you. And Burak.
Hello everyone, I am Burak. I am the managing director of the We Play Ventures. We play early stage gaming VC in Turkey. We started last quarter of the 2020 and as the same we invest in the gaming startups. We invest just in the core gaming developers, in fact not the other gaming technology startups. And we started in Turkey. We did more than 12 investments, it's about 14 now. And with the 2020, 2022, we started invest in the Central Asia and Eastern Europe. So we are looking at the same things, the early stage pre-seed seed game developer studios.
So as you said, the most important actor in game investments are here. And so my first question, are you ready? We know that game industry is very appealing for investors at the moment, and according to Forbes, let me check the numbers, total game-related investments reach 38.5 billion in 2021, which is triple of the previous year actually, and the IPOs are not even included in these numbers. We saw 109.4 billion for absolutely stunning, actually. And what do you think about the near future of the game industry? Do you think that growth will continue, or it will stop somewhere?
I can start. Actually, the good news is in 2022, we already surpassed last year's numbers with two acquisitions, right? Take-Two and Activision Blizzard. So, like, if you ask that question, I think like 2 months ago, probably I would answer differently because landscape was a little bit more optimistic. Of course, we are seeing like the stock markets are crashing. Like, it's not a very good time for investing, not only the gaming but every single subgenre. But as a VC, we are still bullish about it. We are still very optimistic about it because gaming is still growing and there are still a lot of room to grow, right? First, there are still many people can play because if you look the overall gamers number, it's around like 3 billion, and why not it's going to be 5 billion, 6 billion, why not? It can be happen. And also we are expecting huge growth, time spent and frequency of playing games as well. So that's the one thing about total addressable market for whole ecosystem. And the other side is it's bringing in a huge value, right? If you look the numbers, people are spending a lot of money and they are spending more and more year by year basis. Right now, we are estimating more than $200 billion spent on gaming itself, which is a like amazing number. If you look at the Hollywood movie industry, like gaming is bigger than whole Hollywood movie market itself. So even though like market's declining, we are still very optimistic about it because numbers shows that people are playing and they're going to continue to play itself. So that will be my like overall expectations for the market, but I'm pretty sure we can deep dive next questions.
So we have some answers with the İsmet almost all questions. So I will add some things. The gaming sector is growing all year about 10% per year. So it is about 10 years. And now it is the most emerging sector, not in Turkey, in the world. In fact, it's coming to so different because gaming sector is the most dynamic sector in the world, I think. The new type of the game genres, the new type of the revenue models, and is always change itself. So I believe that it will be keep the content, the growing. So it's same for the İsmet, the other things. Yeah, I think.
So we better going on to making games.
Yeah. For sure.
So, you both are already invested on a remarkable number of startups. And probably you already met the majority of the people here.
Probably.
Yeah. But you didn't continue the process somehow. So, especially young founders here, they are young founders here, and they need to know how you evaluate their startups. And if they understand this process, probably it will be easier for you also. So, as an investor, my question, how do you make your decisions of investment? What are your criteria? And we know that you have the money in your bank accounts, and you have to give it away. It's your job, actually. So, what are you looking for indeed?
If you want, I can start. We always say the same things. We look to team. First is the always we are not investing in the project. We invest in the team because in the all sectors it is almost same, but in the gaming sector is completely the team effect is the most important thing. So in the early stage especially, we are not just interested game. We are looking to team, what is the background of the team and what is the ability of the that team. After that, of course, we are looking at the market trends, but we don't want to follow the trends. We try to find the next trend. After that, the financial details, the other things, of course, we are looking. But the first team, the other, it will be keep the market trend, or it can be open the new trend like that.
Yep. So, like
same answer.
mostly the same, but I just want to start with a correction. So our job is not to spend money, actually earn money to our investors. So So one critical point, right? We are venture capital, and at the end, we have investors, and we have to pay back our investors with some sort of reasonable profit, right? So our job is to find, of course, good startups, but good startups who make us earn money. So that's one thing I just want to be emphasize and clarify a little bit. So same as Burak. There are like different factors that you can look at it. We are both doing early stage, which means that most of the startups that we are investing is actually pre-revenue. So there is like limited number of factors that you can look on pre-revenue startups, which is like mostly related with co-founders itself that Burak mentioned. But like overall, we are looking for four main questions answers, right? First, who is going to do that stuff? Like who, what they're going to do, how they're going to do it, and what they have expect from us to put in. So if we are looking answer of these four specific questions, and based on that, of course, we are doing some tricky scoreboards and evaluations, etc., etc. But yeah, like answer of four main questions, like who, what they want to do, how they are going to do it, and what they're asking from us.
Yeah, it's quite understandable actually. It is expected. So, another question about it. We have a lot of young people here, young talents actually. And in Game Factory, we are very familiar to deal with them. But also, we have to admit that they are not very experienced ones. And they are quite very new in the market. So if you are an experienced developer, it is much easier to raise the money actually. But what is your advice to inexperienced first-time founders? There are a lot of them here.
Yep, I can kick off this question. So first, my main suggestion is to understand ecosystem well, right? Because venture capitals are not only folks who is putting the money. And actually, we are the hardest one to take money from. So first, they need to look the ecosystem very well, because there are like publishers who can pay and fund their startups with prototypes and like project-based funding, right? And second, there are angel investors who can both take advice from and money from. There are accelerators, incubators. So my main feedback is to look ecosystem and which party is the most suitable for them at that stage. And second is, no is conditional, right? It's bonded that specific time period. So if somebody says no to have one investment opportunity, it doesn't necessarily mean that it will always be no. So they need to understand why they received no as an answer, and they need to understand whether they can do some improvements from their company, from their business plan, from their product, which make them convert to yes. But again, like my main advice, and I think it's the golden rule for our ecosystem, is the fact that they need to understand what are the parties, stakeholders in this ecosystem, and from which party they can first raise money easier, second will be a much suitable party for them to onboard.
Yeah, I can add that they must know their capacity and ability is the most important. Sometimes we talk with the founders, the young founders, and they have the very big targets. It's okay, but it must be realistic too. With the 4 people team, you can't do the a lot of games in the month. You can't do 10 games in the month.
With 4 people.
Yeah, like that. So they must know the market trends. They must know the competitors. They must know the other games like that, and they must know more than me. Sometimes I am explaining the competitors of these founders. So if they know their capacity and ability and they put the realistic target, it will be going step by step like that.
So another question. Actually, when a young founder is trying to raise the money, it's after the money, but in my opinion, as an investor, for investing in an early stage startup, the money is not the most important part. What you put on the table out of money.
Okay, I can kick off. That's a really good question because I think you need to be very clear what you can take from an investor, right? We are venture capital, so we cannot provide operational support. That's the most important thing here. We can only put strategic guidance and networking skills for a startup itself. For example, what we do, we are more than happy to do like weekly catch-ups, board meetings. If they feel uncomfortable for a specific problem, we can help them to overcome it. We can open some doors. We can provide some networking skills with edtech partners or big tech giants. So that's what we can do. Said so, if they need operational support, right? Because as a VC, I cannot help you how to code a game, right? I cannot help you to solve a bug fix or that kind of stuff. If you need that kind of operational level support, you need to go accelerators, incubations, or maybe Game Factory, or any angel investors who can put money and that can support. So yeah, but just to be super clear. As a VC, Ludus, or any other VCs, I do believe, cannot provide any kind of tactical or operational support. I think VCs only put strategic support on the table.
Most of the young founders doesn't know a lot of things about the managing the business plan or making the tourist strategy or it doesn't know the EBITDA even more. It's so normal in the gaming startups. It's more than normal. They know the doing the gaming, developing the gaming in fact. So we try to keep them in the developing side, in the strategy, in the business sides. We are giving the all advice with the same things in the meetings, in the other things like that. So we are putting the smart money model in the table, and there we try to keep their time in the all developing, and we try to give the all business strategy size from our team and our partners.
Yeah, thank you. So, last question, we talked about it outside, but I'm going to ask it. We have a new trend, blockchain games. Some people call it a revolution. Some people call it evolution. And others think that it's a scam or Ponzi scheme. But no one here, I don't think that can deny that it is coming. And I know personally a lot of developers, some of them are here, and they are just switching their games to blockchain games, play to earn or play and earn. And what do you think about Web3, blockchain games, and especially crypto investors? And another question, do you think that equity is still important in a DAO world?
I can start. In our side, I don't see the blockchain games or the crypto NFT-based games not as a new type of genre. I see that that is the new type of a revenue model. So the games are not changing. In fact, they developing the same change, and we played a lot of web games in the past. It is the same, but it is the new revenue model. So our evaluation process is the same with the other game type in the web
but
games.
it is not just revenue model. It is also a new funding model.
Yeah, new funding, new change. But end of the day, the games must be playing to earn the money. Sometimes founders think that we will do play to earn game or play and earn. It's changing every day. We will do the play and earn games, and we earn a lot of money. I don't agree about that. The playing game, if the market is accepted that game, you can earn the money from this game with ads, with in-app purchase, or with the crypto. It can be. So for us, it is same. It is same with the other games. We evaluate with the same process, and we still interested with the equity not the token. So it is important. We think that the advice for the crypto investors: don't put the all eggs in the bags.
Yeah, crypto investors for gamers. I am talking with a lot of developers now, and they see crypto investors as easy money. Because they just ask for the wallet address in the middle of the Zoom.
Okay, every time you ask that question to me, I'm receiving a lot of messages from my LinkedIn inbox. People are lynching me. Okay, I don't care, guys.
But I'm keeping asking you.
So first I'm going to start with equity part, right? I think I will never ever do a token investment. I'm not a Wall Street guy. Ludus is not an investment bank located in New York. So we are a venture capital, right? And we want to talk with co-founders. We want to have some access to their decision-making process. We want to have some how can I say, power if we felt like there's something going wrong in the organization itself. I think token could be a good option for some level of investors, but we are not going to do it. We are always going to stay in all traditional equity stake sort of investment thesis because in our approach we always positioning ourselves as a partner, right? We are not like a dude buying stocks, right? We are putting putting our money and also our effort on it. So that's why we are still fan of equity. So the other question, I'm just trying to answer as polite as possible. Yeah, there's blockchain, right? And I think it's quite useful for some specific cases. And I also invested a lot for crypto exchanges as well. I lost a lot, but I'm still investing. So technology is there. I'm not sure it's going to be big or not, but it's there, and I'm not pessimistic about it. Said so, I think there's a huge misconception in the gaming ecosystem. I think a lot of startups are mixing up motivation of the gamers itself. For example, I'm a gamer. I have been gamer since my like early childhood, right? I started playing games with like Night Online, Silk Road, etc. I never played these games to earn money. My main motivation is to play, socialize, and then get something. And then to be honest, I spend a lot. Like I put a lot of money in the whole gaming ecosystem. So I understand play to earn is a perk. I respect it. But I think the most confusing thing is to mix why people are actually paying the game itself. So I'm okay to position play to earn as a perk, as a side benefit, but people shouldn't be mixing up the main motivation. So I'm still a huge fan. People need to build up good games, right? Good games, people can play it. But if you're building a stupid game with a simple play to earn feature, I don't think it's going to be anywhere soon, right? So that's my like crystal clear opinion about it. We can invest blockchain stuff, and actually we invested in one good quality AR/VR company, I think like 1.5 months ago. So we are open about it, but the most important thing is whether this game, besides blockchain feature, is meeting the expectations of gaming itself. So it's the most important and critical factor for our point of view. Otherwise, in my point of view, it's a sort of a Ponzi scheme because nobody cares it, nobody plays it, it's a pure trade, it doesn't make sense from my point of view.
It's understandable. If it's a game, the fun must be the first thing. So, I asked you the question, and you don't need to wait for the lynch on the LinkedIn. we have the audience already here, and we can take some questions. Anybody have questions? Yes, please.
Thank you for all the information. So I have a question for you. So what is the big mistake from the entrepreneur side to you? So what is the big mistake? Yes.
In the investment side or the end of the
entrepreneur side. So you have so many projects in your table on the table. So you looked at all the projects. So maybe you can say this is the big mistake from the Turkey for all investors.
Yeah, like I have one big mistake that I'm seeing a lot. They are putting some facts or some objectives they don't even believe it, right? There are sometimes we're seeing specific cases, they're telling a story which they don't believe, but they put it just to affect investors' opinion. And I think this is one of the biggest mistakes that entrepreneurs are actually doing it. So my point of view, if you put something, if you're telling us some story, if you're telling us some objectives, you need to first believe it. So for example, I want to be the next Peak Games, I want to be the next EA Games. Okay, maybe you can, but my main question is, are you believing yourself that you're capable of doing it 2 years period of time? So most of the case, if you challenge the co-founder a little bit, you see that they're not. And I think this is one of the obvious and the biggest mistakes that I'm seeing as an investor point of view.
As I said in the second question is the same. Sometimes the founders doesn't know the markets or the competitors like that. I saw a lot of case about that. I'm asking something about these things, and he is working with these games about more than 6 months. But he doesn't know the same games or the same competitors, same markets. First of all, all founders must look to all other games in the same genre, look to success story or unsuccess story, why they be unsuccess or why they be success. They escape that. Maybe they are working so much and they couldn't look to other side, but it is so big mistake. They put them out of the business and must look to as a third person. I can say that the biggest mistake is that.
Okay. Do you have any question from this side? No? Maybe last question about the blockchains, because I'm my professional in blockchain. So what do you think about what is the meaning of blockchain games? Because I didn't understand, because the blockchain is a technology, not a trend, I guess. So what do you think about that? Because when talking about the blockchain, everybody's talking about the tokenization, tokenomics, or NFTs. But this is not blockchain technologies. Blockchain technologies only on the product. So what do you think about that? This is really needs to blockchain to the game side?
Yeah, it's a good question. So blockchain games, in the gaming, the most important thing make be enjoyable.
Enjoyable.
Enjoyable, yes.
Okay.
We didn't interest so much what is the back technology. It must be PC games, it must be mobile games, it must be blockchain games. In fact, the most important thing, the users can enjoy with these games, and they play these games and they spend the times on these games. So it can be in the blockchain or it can be with Unity and other things. We doesn't interest about this. So I am looking as it is enjoyable. The people play or not. That's all.
Yes, and entertainment is the biggest thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can comment on functionality part on that specific question. So there are like specific features that blockchain games offers, right? One of them is like in terms of decentralization point of view, I think which is like important aspect, because if you look like the traditional games and if you want to monetize your game, right? Or if you pay users some actual money, it's a little bit hard thing, right? You have to be integrated with a finance system, backend, like that kind of stuff, and most of the gaming folks don't have any expertise on it. But right now, it's a little bit easy, right? If you even like a hyper casual game can add some like token economics behind it, and they can pay users like real money. So that's the one perk, like like leveraging blockchain infrastructure makes some monetization features easier and for the co-founders itself. And the second part is, let's assume that you're a co-founder. Once you're willing to raise money, what are you going to do? You're going to come like VCs like us, or maybe you founded your company, you produce your game, you can do IPO, which is like insanely hard thing for a gaming company. But right now, the blockchain games offer IDO, ITO, ICO, whatever you call it, and they can raise money publicly, easily, right? Without without tackling down on a hierarchy or bureaucratic process. So that's also another perk thing. But again, fundamentally, the game is game, but blockchain offers some specific aspects of games more accessible from my point of view, and that's the most important characteristic of the blockchain games from my point of view.
And also there's the ownership part.
Yeah, for sure.
The player is the owner of the assets in the blockchain games. But on the technology part, yeah, I agree with you. We are not using the blockchain as a technology there.
Yep.
It's a point of view. It's different, and almost all of the blockchain games are now off-chain. They are operating off-chain, not on-chain. They are not truly on blockchain. Only the transaction part of the game is on blockchain, on-chain.
So thank you so much for all information and panels. We can. Sorry. Yep.
So I have one question regarding, like, for example, for big corporations that want to now enter the game space and they want to like gamify their IPs in general, and then they are new to developing like new games, right? So what do you advise for like to enter, like do they, because they're starting from the beginning, so do they start with the blockchain games or they go with the traditional games, especially in gamifying their like identity and etc. Because they're starting from the beginning, so why not tackle the new technology?
So yeah, like so I understand your question, but I think there is one fundamental information that we need to clarify. If you do big corporations who is willing to enter the gaming space with an IP, right? For example, I am the owner of a Turkish series, like for example, I'm the owner of Çukur, and I want to enter the gaming space. I don't build game my own, right? Most of the cases, these big corporations simply shake hands with already existing gaming studios. If you look the biggest IPs, I'm talking about Marvel or I'm talking about DC Comics, they're not producing their games by their own. They usually go via gaming studio, for example, the companies like Scopely or any Kabam, etc. So in fundamental, they don't the competency to produce the game itself, so that's one thing, but they doesn't necessarily have it. So most of the time, they're simply shaking hands, building a revenue share models and doing a licensing agreements with the existing partner in the ecosystem. So my answer for that question is they don't have to do it. So probably the answer of your question, whether they are going to build up a traditional game or blockchain, probably will be related with hype, like what's the players are actually wanting or expecting from this gaming community. And then I think it's a very important question to answer, because sometimes it's being pushed back a lot for gaming community, because there are a lot of cases big IP holders did a blockchain game and the community hated it and they have to reverse it, or vice versa can happen itself. But again, I think the most important thing for your question is not because of their competency, but based on what their consumer base, IP-loved consumer games would have expected from them. So yeah, it's my point of view.
I have the same answer, but in that we didn't see a lot of success story about the IP changing in the gaming. A lot of very important IPs making the gaming, but it doesn't be so success. I don't know the reason exactly, but I think it is not the same audience. They are using, we can say a lot of example for that. So the gaming IP is the different from the other IP index. The audience is so changing. So the making IP from the gaming is the easier way. Seems that except the other.
Thank you so much. One question more. Okay, last question.
What's the most interesting NFT project that you would play? And what's the most interesting project, NFT project that you would invest in? And is this the same project or the different projects? And have you ever came across an interesting project in NFT?
Question too.
I know the answer. I know the game that you play.
Hello Fedor. Merhaba. It is a trick question. I think I can say the hit and boom or meta FC, and I can. Yeah, I can escape from this question. You doesn't have anything, right?
Yeah, like I'm not a very good
We are not
person to answer that question, because, for example, I like 6 or 7 months ago, I saw a really good NFT project, right? I said, oh, it's insanely good, and they bankrupt like in 3 months. So probably I'm not the expert to comment on that specific question, to be honest.
Okay, thank you again, and thank you for all attention. And we have come to the end for today. We will be with you again tomorrow, 11 a.m. in the morning, and tomorrow's topic is mobile. We continue to network outside, and until we see you tomorrow, everyone take care of yourself. Goodbye today.